Let's begin the Annunciation Latin class, Annunciationis Classis Latina. And we're going to start with the actual first chapter, Capitulum Primum Imperium Romanum. But as always, we start with an opening prayer, which we will begin. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. And later on, we'll actually talk about that prayer, but we got to get a little bit of Latin under our belts first. Robert, you had a question? Well, okay. Anyway, all right. Ordo Capituli Primi, or the order of study. We're going to do this pretty much the same every chapter, okay? I do have one topic I want to talk about, and that's how to learn Latin, best practices, or in Latin, quomodo Latinam linguam discere. Want to talk about a few things, and then we'll start in on the first chapter, Capitulum Primum Imperium Romanum, and we will go through the entire text. There's 3 sections, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And then eventually the Grammatica Latina, and then the Pensa. And let me add this to the share. Whoops. There we go. So let me talk a little bit about the book. Chapter 1, and you can see there are line numbers on the side there to help, if you have a question or something or we're discussing it. But this is Roman numeral 1. So this is the first section. And the sections aren't terribly long. And let's see, where's Roman? Yep. Oops, I missed it. They hide those up. There's the other Roman numeral. Roman numeral 2, that's the second section. And then finally down here is Roman numeral 3. So each chapter is divided into those 3 sections of reading. And then at the end, you have the Grammatica Latina. And that's where, after reading this part and seeing how sentences are structured and what the vocabulary is, etc., then we will devote some time to actually discussing the grammar. And then lastly, there are a series of exercises. In Latin, one exercise is a pensum. 2 exercises are pensa. And what we will do in class, I'll send out a PDF, by the way. I'm basically rehashing what I've already sent out in the email. Is I will send out these exercises. We will do pensum, actually che in Latin, orally in class. So I will ask you, I'll say like ubi est Romana. And in your brilliance, you'll come up here and you'll remember, oh yeah, there was a line here. And you'll say, Roma in Italia est. So we'll actually have a little bit of conversation going. I will send these out beforehand. And it's a good idea that you scribble your answers in so that you're not, deer in the headlights or caught flat-footed. A and B, though, are for you to fill out by yourselves, okay? I will eventually send the answer sheets to those, maybe a week or 2 later after we're done with the chapter. And then we go on to the next chapter, and etc. Couple things about the book. The book has lots of hints, okay? Now, I talked a little bit, I think, about, got a little bit into this last time. So you saw such, where is it? Let's see. Well, somewhere here is you hear that Britannia insula est. Let's see, where is it? I know it's in there someplace. But anyway, up here, insula, island, oppidum, city, fluvius, river. So the book gives you a lot of hints about what is going on and the margins, okay? Italia, that's Italy. Oh, here, let me, and it has a nice map. Actually, let me add the map here. There. There we go. Okay, now you should be able to see the map. Um, the PDF is black and white, so, but see, it gives you the map in this case. It shows you, talks about Est and Sunt, Italia in Europa Est, Italia et Graecia in Europa sunt. So Est is and Sunt is are, basically. This is how we ask questions. I'll get to that section in a minute. And then there are also various other little hints. Now, when you see parvus et manius and you see the double arrows, that means those are opposites. Parvus means small or little, manius means great or big. So there's a lot of little hints on the side to help you understand what the Latin or what the text means. I want to mention one other thing. If you absolutely positively are dying to have tables, they have the grammar tables in the back. Yeah, there we go. There's all the wonderful declensions and numbers, pronouns, verbs, conjugations, and a whole bunch of other stuff that you learn along the way. And in the index, let's say you can't remember the word Italia, which is kind of sad, but let's say just you can't. You go down to Italia. Should have picked a word closer to the front. Intus, oh boy, yeah, that's right. There's a lot of inter, ipse. Oh, they don't have Italia. They have most of their words in here. I guess they didn't put that in there. So they figured you really should know that. Oh, I know, maybe Imperium. Let's see if Imperium is in here. But this had a pretty, yeah, there it is, Imperium. We were talking about the Imperium Romanum. And we'll talk about what that dash I and N means. N means neuter. We'll talk more about the grammar later. And they say, hey, look at chapter 1, line 55, and also chapter 10, 29. So if you forget a word, you don't have to go to a dictionary. We'll talk about Latin dictionaries later. I mean, not this class, but a few classes in the future, because they are useful. But pretty much everything you need is in the book. Okay, it's all in there. So with that, let's get started. Who wants to be brave and take the first paragraph? And read.
Okay, I will.
Okay, go for it.
I got to pull the book out because its picture's too small.
Yeah, I know
Okay.
you're on your phone. Go ahead.
I'm on not muted. Okay. Roma in Italia est. Italia in Europa est. Grecia in Europa est. Italia et Grecia in Europa sunt. Hispania quoque in Europa est. Hispania et Italia et Grecia in Europa sunt.
Good.
I did that right?
Yep. No, very good. Any questions on that? If you didn't understand something, speak now, because it won't get any better later. Okay, since nobody said anything, and by the way, I mute most microphones when I start just because that way we won't be tripping over everybody. Okay. Who wants to take the second one?
I'll try.
Go for it.
Um, Aegyptus in Europa non est. Aegyptus in Africa est. Gallia non in Africa est. Gallia est in Europa. Syria non est in Europa, sed in Asia. Arabia quoque in Asia est. Syria et Arabia in Asia sunt. Germania non in Asia, sed in Europa est. Britannia quoque in Europa est. Germania et Britannia sunt in Europa.
Okay, watch the S's. They're not Z's.
Okay.
I think your German is leaking in a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I recognize that Germania because I make the same mistake every time, but I studied German too.
Yeah, it's sunt, not zunt. And for those who don't know German, the S is usually pronounced as a Z sound.
Yeah,
Certainly in a leading position anyway.
yeah, in German it's sind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So
And the Germania is supposed to be Germania, right?
yeah.
Soft. Thanks.
Didn't he use a soft G? Did I miss that?
No, we use Germania like I
Oh,
always do.
okay. All
and
right. Sorry.
it's pronounced
Yeah, it's a soft G. So it's not Germania, it's Germania. Much
Germania,
like English.
like Jerry. Okay.
Yeah, well, also like English. We say German, not German. So, of course, the Germans say neither. All right. Any questions there? Is everybody following along? Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay, good. Actually, give me a second. I want to switch over. I forgot to do something. Ah! Oh, how annoying. Okay. I did want to actually, I wanted to cover this first. I'm sorry, I'm out of order here. Quomodo Latinam linguam discere. I said I would talk about that first. Repetitio est mater studiorum. That was from an unknown ancient author, but literally it means repetition is the mother of studies, or in English, practice makes perfect. So there are, it's very important to practice this stuff, to learn how to pronounce it. The way we're going to use the book is we're going to start slowly, but we are going to increase using Latin to learn Latin. And I've kind of skipped over a few things here. Where did I put it? Yeah, in the Grammatica Latina, nomen, adjectivus, declinatio. When the time comes, sorry, I'll be using more and more of that. And eventually we'll ask questions in Latin. Not now. We've got training. Well, actually, we don't even have training wheels on. We're more like on a tricycle. So anyway, I recommend 15 to 30 minutes a day. I recommend writing out by hand a lot of the material because that will help reinforce it. Typing is not the same. And then lastly, priorities, pronunciation, work to pronounce things correctly, vocabulary, learn and understand what each word means. I mean, vocabulary is really the flesh of the language. It's what you see, what you hear, what you read, etc. And you can't talk about something if you don't know the words for it. Reading, understand Latin expression and ideas, how Latin is actually used. And lastly, I've said it before, do not translate, but try and think of the language itself. And yeah, that takes practice. Does anybody not understand when I say do not translate, but think in the Latin or think in the language itself? Everybody understands that? You're all geniuses. You're all asleep.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay, good. Since we don't have video on, I need to know, if we were in a classroom, this would be a little easier, but since we don't have video on it, I don't know if you have all fallen asleep or not. And lastly, as I said, pronunciation, vocabulary, reading. Lastly, grammar, handwriting, and then review periodically. So now I can go back to sorry about that, got things out of order. How about the next section by somebody who has never been in this class before and has yet to read?
I can go for it. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, go for it.
Okay. Esne Gallia in Europa. Gallia in Europa est. Esne Roma in Gallia. Roma in Gallia non est. Ubi est Roma? Roma est in Italia. Ubi est Italia? Italia in Europa est. Ubi sunt Gallia et Hispania? Gallia et Hispania in Europa sunt.
Good. Only comment I would make is it is Europa, not Europe, not Europa. In English, we say Europe, so there's a tendency for an English speaker to say Europa, but it is actually Europa. The EU sound is kind of an oi sounding thing. All right, what does this out here mean? Estne with a question mark and dashne equals question mark. And again, if you've had Latin before, please hold back. How to think in Latin? Oh yeah, actually I will do that in a minute. We'll get back to that. I just saw your question, Adam.
Thank you for that clarification. And I think of it as like not.
What?
Not.
Esne?
Not. Yeah, the nay specifically is not.
Okay. No, actually it isn't.
Or negative.
No. What does this sentence mean? Estne Gallia in Europa, and it has a question mark. So this must be a question, right?
Do you add ne to est when you're asking whether something is?
Yes. The way you ask any question in Latin, well, not any, the way you ask many questions in Latin is you take the verb, goes to the front of the sentence, and then you put a ne on the front of it. So is France Gallia in Europa? Estne Gallia in Europa? Gallia in Europa est. So right now, the only two verbs we have is est and sunt. Now, next chapter, we're going to get a whole bunch of more useful verbs. But right now, we're trying to keep things simple. So estne means is, question mark. Suntne would be, and in fact, okay, in scripture, Peter denies Christ 3 times. And then when he appears before the apostles, Christ says, "Do you love me?" And asks Peter 3 times that, as a matter of fact. So diliges would be love in the sense of agape, not romantic love, but rather the I don't know if English has a real good word for platonic love. That's the word I'm looking for. So when Christ said that, he said, "Diligis ne," which means, "Do you love me?" Diligis ne, Petre. Do you love me, Peter? So any verb, put it in the front, put a ne in front of it, and that means it is a question.
Is it specifically for yes or no questions? Because I noticed when it says where is, it's just est.
Say that again.
Do you add the NE specifically for yes or no questions? Because when it's asking where is, it doesn't have esne.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes. There are a whole class of other, like English, we say, do you X? That's a yes or no question usually, right? Well, the nay is the same thing. In English, we have the do is well, it's known as a periphrastic word. It doesn't have a meaning so much as it just has a little function. So like we stick do in front of a sentence to ask a question. Latin will stick the verb with the na, and usually it is a yes or no question. But like English, we have more than yes or no, as you note. We have ubi est Roma. In English, where is Rome? Well, that's not a yes or no question, so that demands a different answer. So yes, you will see ubi, which is where, and you will see, I think in this section, that's all you see. There's a couple of other places. There's a quid, which is what. Yeah. So I think right now ubi is all we have. Maybe we have quid. So ubi is where. And again, you can see this. Ubi est Roma. Roma est in Italia. Does that answer your question? What does ne by itself translate to? It doesn't. The little dash there means it's a suffix. Yeah, it's a suffix. So it's or enclitic. So the dash there means verb any equals a question mark. Okay. All right. How about?
And with your clarification, if I could just ask really quickly,
Sure.
the EU, I was trying to pronounce those independently as like two different vowels, but you're saying is that what was called a diphthong then? It's pronounced like oi?
Yeah, and
Oeteropa?
I should have included that in my chart. I forgot about it. There's a couple of uh, yeah, there's Europa is yeah, if you listen to the Latin recording, you'll see he'll say Europa. So it's like an OY, or you're a Jewish mother, oy vey. Yeah, I should have mentioned that earlier in the
That's all good. Thank you.
pronunciation section. There's probably a few other sounds I missed. Any others? Oh, you wanted to know what thinking in Latin was? Was that what do you mean by that, Adam?
Well, in your instructions above, you said, don't attempt to directly translate to more think in the language. Uh, Explain,
Ah, okay.
because obviously, like as I'm reading this, in the the next section we're getting ready to do, Esne Nilus in Europa. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, immediately I'm thinking, okay, is the Nile in Europe? That's that's how I'm thinking as I'm reading it. Uh, is to
Well,
translate it.
okay.
So
Okay. And this is something um it's very difficult, I think, to describe, so I will do my best shot here. If when I see Esne Nilus in Europa, I understand that to mean is the Nile in Europe. I do not have to say mentally in my say in my mind, is the Nile in Europe? Rather, Esne Nilus in Europa. That's what it means. Um,
right, and I guess I understand that. I know, at least for me, it's like I've got I've had some exposure to it. I can recognize it somewhat, but still, I'm still in that frame where, if I don't understand a portion of it, I'm kind of piecing it together via translation.
That's not necessarily bad. Okay. There may be sections, especially as you're learning, that you may come upon. And even to a certain extent, okay, for those who haven't had any Latin, um, you're going to do that naturally. Okay, you come up here and you say Roma in Italia est. Well, I can make a pretty good guess what that means. Italia in Europa est. I can make a pretty good guess what that is. Then we come down here and you go, oh, what is this estne? What is that? Oh, well, this is a question. So you might see, okay, that's Gaul in Europe. Estne. What does estne mean? And then you realize, that means is. So yes, there is a place for translating things that you don't have a handle on, okay? But once you have that handle, you don't want to rely on that as a crutch. Because if you sit there and every time you read a Latin phrase, you mentally, instead of thinking of the concept or the abstract form of it, you sit there and you go, oh, okay, that means this in English, it means that in English, it means that in English. That will just slow you down. You're using English as an intermediate language, and that's very inefficient, and it will actually make it more difficult later on because when you're going to, okay, good example, Roma in Italia est. Rome in Italy is. Well, that's not how we say it in English, right? Sound like Yoda.
Correct.
So as time goes on, you will see more and more constructions that simply do not map neatly into English. Now, they all have a very clear English meaning. I mean, Latin expresses ideas, English expresses ideas. So I think maybe another way to think about this is let's go back up here. Do you attend the Latin Mass at Annunciation or the 9 a.m. Mass?
I attend Latin Mass here in Florida.
Florida. Oh, that's right. You're from
yeah.
Florida. That's right. That's right. Okay, so when you start Mass, hopefully you can see this. I didn't realize.
Again.
Yeah. When you say, and this is for everybody, when you go to Mass and you say, In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, Amen. Do you really say to yourself, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit? Or do you know you're making the sign of the cross and you're saying the sign of the cross? See what I'm saying?
I do.
Anybody else struggling? By all means ask. I generally do not. I
generally understand that Latin is more. It's an inflective language, correct? So it's not
Yes.
it's not so much the order of the words is not as necessarily connected as it would be in English, which is
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. And for those who don't know what he's saying now, he's getting a little bit ahead, but okay. Well, in fact, we'll come to that in a minute here. Oh, no, actually, I'll go back to the first line. Notice the first line is Roma in Italia est, where the A is a long A. But here, Italia in Europa est, long A, short A. Long A, long A. But over here in the map, it just says Europa. Later on, and this is going to be when we discuss grammar down and dirty, so to speak. So we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. You're going to find that the endings of the words change to indicate the grammatical function of the word. This happens in English a little bit. We have singular and plural. We have, student and students. We have possessive, students and students, which just shows that English is sometimes very hard to figure out what you're talking about. But Latin would be very clear about that, and the endings would change. I'm going to hold off on discussing that until later. I want you right now to get a feel for the language before we go deep inside the grammar. So I'm going to kind of hold that off. We'll get to it. Don't worry. Yes, declensions are how we categorize nouns, but we'll talk, as I said, we'll talk about that later. In fact, if I kind of briefly flashed up this chart, declinatio, etc. So we'll get to it. All right, where were we? I think we were here, weren't we?
Line 16, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So who can go all the way down? Unfortunately, this is going to highlight everything. There. Who's next for the next section?
Is it okay if I read?
Go right ahead. Please do.
Esne nilus in Europa, nilus in Europa non est. Ubi est nilus, nilus in Africa est. Renos ubi est, Renos est in Germania. Nilus fluvius est, Renos fluvius est. Nilus et Renus fluvi sunt. Danuvius quoque fluvius est. Renus et Danuvius sunt fluvi in Germania. Tiberis fluvius in Italia est.
Very good. Say this word again. Well, not the in, just this word.
Fluvi.
Fluvii. Both vowels are pronounced fluvii. So one river is a fluvius. Two rivers are fluvii.
Okay.
Got it? Yeah. So if we come up here, Germania, Danuvius fluvius est, Rhenus fluvius est. Rhenus et Danuvius in Germania, Aegyptus in Africa, Nilus in Aegyptus, Asia, Syria, Arabia, Grecia, Italia, Roma, etc. Any questions? Oh, and the Tiber is the river that runs through Rome. There are a lot of words using the long U sound without the long U, which is, okay, that's probably English. I probably am sneaking along. It should be fluvius. Well, okay, fluvius. But when you put it all together, that's going to sound like a longer vowel. That's just the way humans are constructed, their vocal apparatus. So don't say, okay, let's put it this way. Let's see if there's a good. Also, the other thing is the other thing is fluvius. Where is the accent? It's on the U. It's never on the last vowel. It may be on the second vowel if the second vowel is long, right? Well, it's not. So it's actually on the third vowel from the end, that is. So when we accent that, in English, we tend to make that a long, U. And you're probably right. It's probably closer to fluvius, but it comes out fluvius. And really listen to the videos. Tiberius does not have a macron. No, Tiberius is short I. We say the Tiber, but that's because we're decadent English speakers. No, it's Tiberius, short I. And if you go to the recordings, you'll hear that it is indeed Tiberius. Any other questions? Let's see if I missed anything in here. Anyway, getting back to Tom Galloway, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So another one. Let me give you another one. Where is quoque? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Here it is. Arabia quoque in Asia est. Technically, that O is short. It ought to be quoque. But you will hear our illustrious Italian speaker make it long. And for that matter, you will hear me make it long. That's not wrong, but it is the nature of those sounds putting together. There is actually another word in Latin, quoque, with the long O. Let's not get into that, what that means. So quoque means also, but invariably everybody says quoque. So let's see, a couple of other new ones. Yeah, okay. So I think any more questions? Okay, yeah, feel free to ask. If you don't ask, I can't answer. I'll have you know that in college I flunked my mind reading class. So who'd like to go next?
I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
Nilus fluvius magnus est, Tiberius non est fluvius magnus,
Okay, hold on.
Tiberius magnus,
Yeah, Manus.
Manus.
Agnus
That's correct.
Dei.
Correct.
I can tease you a little bit because I know you go to the Latin Mass.
Yeah, I should know better.
Well, that's all right. Again, our English is leaking through. I mean, it's natural.
Yeah.
Okay. It's and to be honest with you, I can hear when Pope Benedict XVI spoke Latin, did an excellent job of it. You could hear his underlying German
Yeah.
accent. It wasn't, and Pope John Paul had a little Polish in his. Our video done by the Italian, well, yeah, the Italian accent comes straight through. So, we are going to have a little bit of an accent. It's unavoidable, but we do try to, get the sound right. Manus, not Magnus. Go ahead. I think this is where we left off, right? Tiberius.
Yeah. Tiberius fluvius parvus est, Rhenus non est fluvius parvus, sed fluvius magnus, Nilus et Rhenus non fluvii parvi, sed fluvii magni sunt, Danuvius quoque fluvius magnus est.
Very good. So now we see two things here. We see one fluvius. Well, we saw that above. And two fluvii. And we saw Nilus et Rhenus non. Oh, well, let me go back. Fluvius parvus. Remember, parvus and manus are opposites meaning. So Manus, big. Okay. We have a number of Latin words that are, or sorry, English words that are kind of derived from that. The opposite is parvus. So Tiberus fluvius parvus est. So now we see an adjective modifying a noun. Adjective modifying a noun. Fluvius manius, fluvius parvus. Rhenus non est fluvius parvus, sed fluvius manius. Then we go to the plural. Nilus et Rhenus non fluvii parvi. So two fluvii. It's not fluvii parvus, but fluvii parvi. And later on, when we get to the Grammatica Latina, we will find that adjectives have to agree with their nouns in something known as gender, number, and case. And we will talk about it when we get to that section. I'm just pointing it out now that some of these may not be immediately obvious, okay? So think of me as your tour guide. You know, tour guides point things out to the tourists who may not be familiar with the city. Okay, let's see here. All right, who wants to do the next one?
I'll give it a try.
Good.
Okay. Corsica insula est, Corsica et Sardinia et Sicilia
Yeah, that's a hard one. Go ahead.
insulae sunt,
Mm-hmm.
Britannia quaque insula est, Italia insula non est, Sicilia insula magna
Anya, yeah.
magna est, Melita est insula parva, Britannia non insula parva, sed insula magna est, Sicilia et Sardinia non insulae parvae, sed insulae magnae sunt.
Very good. So we see the same thing up here where we had Fluvius and Nilus. Now we have Corsica. Well, sorry, excuse me, Fluvius and Manius. Now we see insula. One insula, two insulae. So, and then we see insula magna, where we had Fluvius Manius, and we had insula parva, where we also had Fluvius parvus. So what we'll see later on is, again, insula. Well, all of the A ending words in this chapter are what are known as feminine nouns. And this is going to be something that'll probably be a little difficult for most English speakers, or native English speakers anyways, because we've pretty much lost what's known as grammatical gender. Spanish still has it, right? We got any Spanish speakers out there?
Yes, me.
Me
So,
too.
yeah, I was gonna say I've got some suspiciously Spanish looking names there, so you guys should chime in. So yeah, Latin has that as well.
German has 3.
I know, and so does Latin.
Yeah.
So does Latin. We have the feminine, the masculine, and the neuter. In fact, there's the neuter, oppidum. So anyway, any questions on what that means?
No.
Okay, Sicilia et Sardinia non insulae parvae, sed insulae magnae sunt. Well, there's Sardinia. And where is, oh yeah, here's Sicilia is off the boot. So those are pretty good sized islands. Yes, the C here is a CH sound. If you remember or don't remember, last time C softens between certain letters, E, I, and the diphthong AE. It's hard in front of U and A. Did I leave out a letter? A, E, I, O. Yeah, so it's soft before an I. So Sicilia. And let's see, do we have, yeah, Corsica. That's before an O. So Corsica, Sicilia. I'm trying to think if there's any other places it softens. Actually, is that the first soft one we had? Yeah, I think that's the first soft C we had. All right, any questions on that section? No, the I's without the macrons are indeed pronounced like it. So, oh, let's see, hold on. Yes, should be like an I sound. So Tiberius is short. It's not Tiberius, it's Tiberius. Sardinia. So why are you saying I's are long in Tiberius and Sard? I think you're missing something in there. It should be Sardinia. No, they're short.
I think some of my Spanish pronunciation kind of came out. May have said Sardinia, and it should be
Oh, that may be. That may
Sardinia.
be. And I will I'm kind of bad at about something. I will mold the word mentally correctly. That has a I have a long history of working at NASA, and if you've ever listened to air to ground transmissions, they're very noisy. And so my I have a great filter in my brain that will immediately lock on to what the correct word is, despite all that static. And it's entirely possible I may have missed the Sardinia. It's Sardinia. Sardinia. So if I did, I apologize.
So the first I is pronounced D, but then the second I
They're
is
all short.
they're both short. Okay, but
Sardinia.
Sardin.
Sardinia. You put it all together, and that IA, just by virtue of our English tongue, is going to sound a little like a longer I. Sardinia, because that's not a sound we don't usually do an it in English. I can't think of any word. But again, listen to the YouTube videos, and you'll find that I'm pretty sure he uses the shorter or tries to, the Sardinia. So,
Thank you.
okay. All right, next section. I see a lot of very quiet people out there. let's see, who haven't I heard from? Sarah, how about you?
I'll give it a try. It's my
Try.
first time speaking it out loud, so I have some
Hey,
stage fright here.
well, first off, don't worry about it, okay? This is the only way you're going to get any good at it, okay? And I make mistakes even at my level. I will sometimes let my English accent betray myself or my English language betray myself. So don't worry about it, okay?
Thanks for the reassurance.
We're all here to improve, okay?
Sounds good.
Some of us just need more improvement than others. That's all. So don't worry about it.
I said Magnum. You can't do any worse than that.
Yeah, he said. And
thanks, Adam.
Yeah, actually, how is it Najib? How do you pronounce your name, Najib?
It's pronounced Najib, like you just said it.
Oh, okay, okay. Sometimes J's are, go to H's. Okay. Yeah, he said, what was it? Yeah, he made it. Oh, yeah, he left the I off the plural, fluvii. And so, hey, there's mistakes. And you'll catch me in them. Don't worry. All right, go for it.
All right, here goes nothing. Brundisium opidum est.
Okay. Say that second word again.
Opidum.
Oppidum, short O.
Oppidum.
Oppidum. Oppidum. Not oppidum, but oppidum. It's like the U in put or look.
Okay. Oppidum.
That's actually a hard word, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Brundisium oppidum est.
Yeah.
Brundisium et Tusculum oppida sunt. Sparta quoque oppidum est. Oppidum est.
Yeah.
Brundisium est oppidum magnum. Tusculum oppidum parvum est. Delphi quoque oppidum parvum est. Tusculum et Delphi non oppida magna, sed oppida parva sunt.
Good. I watched the O, and the Tusculum is a short U. So just
Tusculum.
you're making it a little bit long, but
okay.
No, that's all right. But seriously, I understood every word you said. Okay. Of course, I had the text there, which helped. But the point is there is a variation in languages. Okay. So don't be too don't be too uptight about it, I guess, is really what I'm trying to say here. So you did very well. You did very well.
Thanks, Michael.
This is your first Latin, and this is your first Latin class ever? Yes.
Right? This is, yes.
Okay, well, you did fine. You did fine.
Awesome. I know where I need to practice more of now. Thanks, Michael.
Well, that's what I said, going back to the charts, is you want to get the word right. And think about it in English, spell receive. Let's see, it's I before E, except after C and neighbor, and English is just crazy. But in England, in Latin, every letter is pronounced. Some of them, like, okay, there is the Europa, which is a diphthong is where, okay, what is a diphthong? I suppose I should have defined that, since people may not know. It's just two vowels stuck together. And in the combination of those vowels, it produces what amounts to a third sound. but either way, they're all there. So Brundisium, sorry, yeah, Brundisium, short I, excuse me. See, even I leak out with English. Brundisium oppidum est. So oppidum,
Oppidum.
oppidum. So you
Oppidum.
yeah, you pronounce it right. You can write it in Latin just fine, right? Yeah, because all the letters are pronounced. So it's we really ought to get rid of English. It's a terrible language. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so okay. Oh boy. All right, maybe. All right, who wants to be the brave soul? I may have to do this one. Well, it's got all of those wonderful Greek islands, which I don't know, you probably can't see very well on this screen, but if you zoom in, uh, um, they're
Oh,
all,
I think I know how to pronounce these.
well, you already had a turn, right?
Yeah, I did. Okay.
Okay, let's give,
This is like the what is it? The 12 minor prophets. You're trying to
yeah,
name them
yes,
all.
this is, well, no, the genealogy of Jesus, that's the one that's, fortunately, when I was a lector, I never had to read that one. But yeah, there's some wonderful names there.
Let's try it.
Can you get a little go right ahead? Can you get a little close to the microphone though? You're a little weak.
Can you hear me?
Closer.
Hello?
I can hear you, but you're kind of faint. Try again.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
And by the way, you get a gold star for just trying this one.
Okay. Ubi es Sparta. Sparta est in Grecia. Sparta est oppidum Grecium. Sparta et
Hold
Delphi
on.
oppida
Hold on. Or I forget. Say that again.
Grecium. Grecum.
Grecum. Yeah.
Grecum.
Grecia, because it's C before I is soft. Grecum, because C before U is hard.
Okay.
So anyway, resume. I wanted to keep
Spar
going because this is a long paragraph.
okay.
Go ahead.
Sparta et Delphi oppida Grecia sunt.
Greca.
Greca sunt.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a hint. Well, never mind. Go ahead.
Tusculum non oppidum Grecum, sed oppidum Romanum est. Tusculum et Brundisium sunt oppida Romana. Sardinia insula Romana est. Creta, Rhodus, Naxos, Samos, Chios, Lesbos, Lemnos, Euboea sunt insulae Grecia.
Okay.
In Grecia multe insulae sunt. In Italia et in Grecia sunt multa oppida. In Gallia et in Germania multi sunt fluvi. Fluvi. Sunt ne multi fluvi et multa oppida in Arabia. In Arabia non multi sed pauci fluvi sunt et pauca oppida.
Pauca. Yeah, and that's one
Pauca.
thing you're going to have to get used to is, okay, paucus means little, and the plural is pauci because the US becomes an I. And so as the endings may change, some of the consonant sounds may change. So just, but that aside, excellent. Excellent. That was done very well. see. Yeah, so just watch out the change. See, Grecia, Grecum, Greca, Grecum, etc. But I'm impressed. Very good. Okay, couple of.
So, Michael, it's only the ch sound when it's with the I only?
No, when it's with an I or an E or an AE. Okay.
Okay.
If you go back to the first set of notes, there's a table of sounds there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I can pop it up if people want. But the thing with Latin is it's a very melodic language. English comes from the Germanic tree. Okay, there's something called Proto-Indo-European, which is supposedly the language of all of Europe many, many, many years ago. And then as you know, it branched out into various flavors, German being one branch. Interestingly enough, Latin, Greek, and Sanskrit are sister languages. And then, of course, you have the Romance language, which came from Italy, or from Latin, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian. Where was I going with that? I totally forgot. Oh well. Couple of thoughts here. A couple of things I wanted to point out is we saw the insula, and now we're talking about oppidum. This is the neuter noun. So one oppidum, two oppida. So oppida magna, big cities. Oppida parva, little cities. And I don't, well, was Uralic part of the Proto-Indo-European? I don't know. I'd have to look that up. Possibly. I'm not real familiar with Slavic and the other languages as far as where they came from. Just, I'm more of a Western European guy. So, yeah, Robert says no, and he would probably be he would likely know. Or rather, his best guess is better than mine. Let me put it that way. Let's see what else. So now we have the question. Ubi. Ubi est Sparta. Where is Sparta?
Hey, Michael. Before we move on, could I ask another clarifying question on
Certainly.
the pronunciation? The one thing that I've struggled with a lot, I assume I mess up a lot of the pronunciations, but I really struggle to understand I don't know if we call it the soft or short U's, but I hear the example of took and like put or something, or put or something, and those have just like never quite, I just don't quite understand it. I tried to figure out some English words that actually end in or us. And I'm going to put them into the chat, but nobody write them down because I don't even know if these are good examples. I want you to clarify for me. But I was trying to figure out English examples that have the actual correct ending. Because when it's like took, there's never like an okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, none of
But
those. And in English.
In English, yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Let me think about this. I got to be careful. Album.
Because is it num or magnum? I
Well,
guess
okay.
is that
It's
the
not.
difference that's happening here?
Yeah, it's not an So magnum is right out. Datum is right out. Bonus is right out. Cactus is right out. Campus is right out. And fungus is right out. So album. Well, okay. How do you say album? How do
I
you?
think the way you I
Yeah.
think the way you said it just
See,
right.
album could be album or album, and see, even English is a little squishy. So if I were to let me pronounce those as if they were Latin, I would say album, magnum, datum, bonus, cactus, campus, et funius. So it's more of an sound. And I don't know if there's an easy way. I'll tell you, the best thing to do, maybe, is when you listen to the video, read along with the video and see if you can sound like the video. I don't know if that helps or not, other than practice. And the other thing, keep in mind, is you may pronounce your vowels slightly different from the way I do. So you may need to think of them slightly different. Yeah. Yeah, some people, yeah, as Christian said, some people say room or room. So I'm afraid English is a bit of a handicap in learning Latin as far as pronunciation goes, because our vowels are all over the place. The advantage is, of course, we have a lot of Latin root words. But yeah, I would not pronounce, other than maybe album. Well, would I say album? No, I'd make it a UM. So, yeah, I'd say album. So I would say none of those are pronounced like the English, because campus, not campus. So
Thank you for clarifying that. And then, yeah, having you read them in the correct pronunciation is helpful. So I appreciate it.
yeah, but yeah, listen to the Latin and kind of tune your ear in. All right, let's see here. Oh, we did that nice long one. Oh, we're in almost section 2, 3. Excellent. Oh, we got half the class. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy. It's great if we can get through like 2 sections in a class in these early chapters, because they're relatively easy. I realize it's new, but these are pretty straightforward. All right. Okay. Ooh, now we get to this interesting one. Who wants to be brave? We do need somebody who's very brave for this one.
I'll go.
And that's Christian. Yes, go right ahead.
Right. Num Creta oppidum est, Creta oppidum non est. Quid est Creta? Creta insula est. Num Sparta insula est, Sparta non est insula. Quid est Sparta? Sparta oppidum est. Renus quid est? Renus est Manius Fluvius. Manius Fluvius. Num Oceanus Atlantica parvus est? Non parvus, sed Manius est Oceanus.
Very good. Minor tweak. Watch out for the oppidum. That's English leaking in. And the other one is, this is C before E, so it is soft. Oceanus.
Oceanus, sorry.
Yeah, just pretend you're sitting there eating spaghetti and have a glass of wine and you're Italian or something. Oceanus. All right, now this is the fun one. What does this mean? Num Creta oppidum est. Num Creta oppidum est. Any takers? Except Teresa, who knows, and my wife, who knows. This is a toughie, because this is a good example of something that really doesn't exist in English. It sort of does. Any takers? All right. If a sentence begins with, or a question begins with num, you're close, Robert, you're close. Num creta oppidum est. If the sentence begins with num, the answer is expected to be no. The best way, perhaps, to translate this is Crete. Sometimes my Latin leaks into my English. Crete isn't a city, is it? If I say that, if I say Crete isn't a city, is it? What do you say? You say, no, it isn't. Some people will say, yes, it isn't. But either way, the answer is the negation of it. How many have seen the movie Clue, which is after the board game? It's a pretty old movie. Anybody? Okay. Do you remember the scene where they get into the yes meaning no or no meaning yes? Maybe not. Anyway, the difficulty is, that should be the homework assignment. Everybody watch Clue. So, num creta oppidum est. The person asking the question expects you to deny that Crete is a city because he doesn't think it's a city. He isn't sure, maybe. And sure enough, the answer is Creta oppidum non est. I can't think of a real equivalent to English in here. So literally means Crete isn't a city, is it? No. Crete is a Crete is a Creta insula est. Okay.
The way there's any lawyers in here, it would be kind of like a leading question. Crete is not a city, correct?
Well, okay. Now, how would you answer that? See, if you said
correct,
Crete is not a city, correct? Then you say yes.
But you said Crete insula est. It's not. It's oh, I see. Island. Okay, sorry. I think of it as a building. Those buildings that took up an entire block. Called an insula. Sorry.
Unfortunately, my wife read some Roman history before she learned the word insula. In Rome, well, insula is an island. Okay, first and foremost, it is an island. But what do we have in cities that are also islands? Well, we have traffic islands, right? But in Rome, a block of buildings, usually apartment buildings, were called an insula because it was like an island unto itself. And so, no, it is not Crete is not an apartment building. Sorry. But but getting back to num, see, there's really no good, easy, simple translation of the word num because you're asking a question to which you expect the answer is no. So if you say, you're right, you might want to go with Crete isn't a city, correct? But then the person has to answer yes. Conveys the meaning. It conveys the meaning. I agree. It conveys the meaning, but unfortunately, just watch out because the answer on the Latin side should be no.
The way I've been thinking of it is like thinking of it as surely not. Like surely Creta is not
that'll
city.
work. That'll work.
Like surely not.
Yeah, that'll work.
But over on the side where it says num Creta est question mark equals est ne. I get that it's trying to say that it's a question or whatever, but that's I think where I came up with the not part. is as not. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, in some cases, the nay can mean a not. We'll see later on. And it's actually a contraction of the word for not, which is non. So, yeah, for now, don't think of it as a not. It'll trip you up too many times. Is there a different word for city state, or is that still oppidum? Oppidum, yeah, word for yes. Who wrote word for word translation? That's got to be Robert. Yeah, yeah. Word for word translation is a trap. um, that's why I'm not doing a dictionary yet. Um, and actually, I'm going to talk about that a little in a future class.
Yeah, since I've done so much reading in the Roman Republic, an oppidum was always a hill fort that the barbarians had in Gaul. So if you've read any of Caesar's Gallic Wars, he's not talking about attacking towns or cities. He's
Right.
talking about the hill forts. So
Yeah.
later on, it just became to mean a town.
Yeah. And yeah, as Jenny points out, we're going to find out that these words have multiple meanings, and it's a bit dangerous to map a Latin word too tightly to an English word. Oppidum here could mean town, city, whichever. And you're right, at certain times, oppidum was referred to as a fort, because if you've ever seen a Roman fort, it is actually a small village. There's about 6,000 to 10,000 people in that fort. And then insula is not only an island, but it is also an apartment complex. And that's what I mean by read and understand how the word is used. And be aware that in the future you may get more meanings of that word, but I'm getting ahead again. So anyway, num is so num Sparta insula est, Sparta non est insula. So just remember, if it begins with num, the answer is no, because the following phrase is false and the speaker expects it to be false. Any more questions on num? Yes, okay. And then we have the Oceanus Atlanticus out there. Okay, what time is it here? All right, we have, oh yeah, let's finish all the way to 3. That's good. And we'll stop there. Who wants to do the last one? Let's see, who haven't I heard anything from? Who haven't I heard? Amanda, how about you? Give it a try.
Ubi est Imperium Romanum est in Europa, in Asia, in Africa, Hispania et Syria et Egyptus provinciae Romanae sunt. Germania non est provincia Romana, Germania in Imperio Romano non est, sed Gallia et Britannia sunt provinciae Romanae. In Imperio Romano multe sunt provinciae, manium est Imperium Romanum.
Very good. Very good. Any questions on what that means? Yes? No? Okay. So hopefully this is reasonably simple. I mean, simple enough that you can generally look at the words and tough out the meaning. And that's what I mean by thinking in the language. When I make the sign of the cross, I'm simply making the sign of the cross and saying it in Latin. I don't mentally translate that to English. So, ubi est Imperium Romanum. Well, that means where is the Roman Empire? So you shouldn't say mentally, where is the Roman Empire, but rather think, ubi est Imperium Romanum. Imperium Romanum est in Europa, in Asia, in Africa, Hispania, et Syria, et Egyptus provinciae sorry, I went too fast. In Europa, in Asia, and in Africa. So, et Britannia, Imperium Romanum in Africa, in Egypto, in Asia, in Europa, et in Britannia, in Italia. Any questions on the first two sections?
I do. I don't know if this is a little outside of what we're working on here, but what relation do the commas have in the Latin text? You know, like when it's doing a list of words, is that something you would, because aren't there no commas in Latin? Am I understanding that correctly? So would it just be a list of places? Would it just be in Europa, in Asia,
Well,
in
okay.
Africa?
Punctuation is a modern invention. So if you go all the way back, say the Canterbury Tales, there is no punctuation. Well, there might be a period for sentences. If I were to show you a very old document, say, I don't know, 14th, 15th century, somewhere in there, not any commas, or at least it would be unusual. They did occasionally use periods. If you really want to go all the way back to say the time of Caesar, or, as I said, this takes place first, second century, they didn't even put spaces between the words. So made it very, very difficult to read.
Yeah, he was actually one of the few people that anyone had ever met who could read at a glance because it was written with no spaces between the words. He did eventually, when in the dispatches to the Senate, he and a couple of other people started to put a dot over the first letter of every word, and it helped with reading. But before then, you had to study something before you read it aloud.
Well, in fact, you typically read it aloud, sounding the letters out so you could figure out what the word was. So, yeah. So if you ever go to Rome or see an ancient Roman monument, you may not see any spaces between any of the words. So today in the 21st century, we've long since adopted most of the punctuation that we use in English. We use in multiple languages. We use it in Italian, French, Spanish, Latin. And so if you look at a hand missile, if you look at the Latin in a hand missile, you'll find that there's punctuation there. So does that answer your question?
It does. Yeah. I guess kind of where I was going with that is like the commas are in like kind of, I don't know if this is like strategically placed for like an English reader, maybe it's for other languages too, but like I'm looking at the sentence in Arabia non multi sed pauci fluvi sunt et pauca opida, and there's the comma right before the sed. That's in
Where's
like
the
line. That's like line 47.
47? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Well,
And there's
okay.
the comma right before the sed, which
Yeah.
is like but, which is the way we would do it in English.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is that just there for English readers? It would not
No, no.
typically.
First off, keep in mind that Orberg was not English; he was Danish. The author was Danish. Okay. No, that is a common punctuation that is standard amongst certainly all the Western European languages that I'm aware of. I can't speak of like Russian, etc. I don't know what they do. And certainly Chinese doesn't use punctuation like that. So no, in Western languages and probably a good number of Eastern European languages, there is a pause there. In Arabia, non multi sunt pauci fluvii sunt, et pauca oppida. So we naturally, when we speak, when we say it in English, in Arabia, there are not many, but, or sorry, there are not, there are not many, but a few rivers and small towns. So in English, as you said, we naturally pause there. Well, that's a natural pause in most languages because this is a conjunction, said. Said is a conjunction, but is a conjunction, it's etc. So no, I wouldn't
Yeah,
say
that's helpful.
yeah, I wouldn't say it's peculiar to, you're right, we would say that way in English, but that's because that's peculiar to most languages. Now, there will be some curious constructions where they don't have commas, where English would, and that has to do with multiple, let's see, do they have, oh, here it is. Here we go. Hispania et Syria et Egyptus provinciae Romanae sunt. We generally don't say Spain and Syria and Egypt. We would say Spain, Syria, and Egypt. So we might say Hispania, Syria, et Egyptus. And Latin will use multiple ets. So you see no commas there. So that is a difference. But if we, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say in the Middle Ages, even the early Middle Ages, it's not punctuation, but there are, I don't know how to pronounce it, pneuma, which is more like a musical. It's
Well,
almost.
okay, hold on. That's in Gregorian chant.
Oh, is it? No, that's also in poetry as well.
Okay, that could be. Yes, yeah, yeah.
But there's actual marks that
yeah,
they.
yeah. Especially, yeah, I don't know how much in the Middle Ages, but certainly, oh, you're thinking of the little squiggly lines above the words?
Yeah, and also there's not a dot on the bottom of the line, but right in the middle of the line. But it is pretty rare. You're right. It's not common, but it does exist. That's all.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's because that is poetry or even a hymn. If you look at very early Gregorian chant manuscripts, they didn't use the neumes like we have today in our hymnals. They used squiggles. Remind me to show you guys what that looks like sometime. So no, be glad you are past the point or where punctuation is standard because it makes it way easier to read. Anything else? Because we're running out of time. All right, let me switch to my charts. As I said, we'll get to some of this stuff later on where we'll talk about parts of speech, etc. But I don't want to get that now. Now, next class, I'm sorry, it is canceled. October 9th, I'm sorry. I work on the Artemis mission to the moon, and we are having a dry run as we have, well, we have many dry runs. And Thursday of next week, I have to participate in that. I tried to wiggle out of it, but they said niet. Or no, they said no. So take advantage of the extra time. to go back and reread through chapter 1, okay, what we covered, but then work on section 3, okay? And I recommend you work on reading and listening. If you have a little bit of time, go ahead and read the Grammatica Latina, okay? I will go through that in quite a bit of detail, so I'm not too worried about you having to read it. There may be a lot of questions. But yeah, read through it maybe. But anyway, certainly the third section, go back and re-listen to the other two things, and we will meet October 16th. And now for our precatio finalis. I will mute everybody, and we will begin. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. And with that, the class is officially over.